Hey guys, this is Final Fantasy A Realm Reborn / Heavensward, and here we are, the top 50 mounts we are looking at. I'll divide them into 10 categories. So in this video I'm going to be looking at the best mount of the tanks, the best beast mount, the cutest mount, the ugliest mount, the coolest, hardest to get, the best story mount to get, the easiest mount to get, the best pony mount, and the best emote mount. Okay, so we get for all these ones here. This is just a personal opinion. If you guys think differently, then please say so in the comments and let me know what you think. And let's get started into this. Okay, so when it comes to the tank mounts, there are three you can get with this three tank classes of the lion, the bear, and then also of course the war panther. Now when it came to the one of this one, I gave it to the war lion. Okay, reason being mainly because it was the first tank mount I got, and because my starting class was a gladiator / paladin. So I spent a lot of time farming this, spent a lot of time doing the cause of Bahamut to try and do all the experience to get this mount. And not only I think is it one of the better looking ones, I mean the bear is quite cool, but the war panther is one of the easier to get at the tank mounts, because just being a dark knight, in my opinion, is one of the easiest tanks just for holding aggro, and just in the moves itself are a lot easier to use than other tanks. But the war lion, in my opinion, just wins it for looks and just for the style of it. It's a nice style. Now, as of yet, these do not fly, but I've heard rumors one day the tank mounts will fly. I don't know if this is ever going to happen. Maybe we just had patch 3.5, nothing there. Maybe an expansion pack in 4.0, maybe, just maybe, these guys might fly. You know, if they do, it'll be pretty exciting, but if not, it won't be the end of the world, because they're still pretty cool to ride around on in the areas where you do in fact say ride mounts. And mostly these guys are generally seen now, if anything, in PvP arenas, because I think people want to show off their mounts in the front line. Okay, so next we're going to look at the best beast mount. Now there was quite a few here on this list to look at, and it was quite tough because I do like the cavalry drake, because I spent a lot of time in the area being my starter class, and then also I spent a lot of time doing these beast tribe missions. So I do have a lot of affinity for this one here, and I really like the Elbst, and I think perhaps in the new expansion pack these guys will be one of the few beast tribe mounts, because not although flying mounts will be able to go underwater as a safe amount of walking, but because these guys, you know, can swim. It says about these guys have lost the ability to, but I think that would be quite cool. But actually I'm going to give it to this guy here, the Dire Wolf mount. Now at the time, this was the first beast tribe quest that required you to do crafting missions, which is quite exciting. And the reason I chose this one is because of all the beast tribe mounts, this was the one at the time I remember being the most excited about and spending a lot of time working on and grinding away at doing those quests. And it was very handy to get some classes up to level 50 on the crafting side, so I'm not going to complain about it. But so I remember going away for one of my assemblies and coming back and getting it, I think 2 days later. So I lost a couple of days of getting it because of the assembly, but when I got back I was able to get grinding away again back on it, and I was really glad when I did, because obviously, you know, Blue Fox being my online name, so it's quite a thing. This is a Blue Wolf, it's close enough, so I'm going to get to it. But it's a very stylish mount, very fun one to get, and you don't actually see that many people riding it around, so in some ways it's quite a rare mount as well. Okay, on the next mount we've got the cutest mount. Now this one was tough. It was a tough choice between the two. I nearly gave it to the Cloud Mallow, because that is quite cute, but that to me was more of a beast tribe mount, so in fact I gave it to the Fat Chocobo. Now, Chocobo, you can either use the original fat one, which is the white one, or the yellow, but we'll use yellow because the yellow is the one you'll get from doing the actual subscription. So you will get this mount eventually, so you know, don't fret. I'm pretty sure that's how you get it. Okay, so looking at the feet, it's got its chubby little fat legs. When it walks, it's trying to eat the Gysahl green that's hanging off the rod, and when it runs, the little wings flapping around, and it's got its real fat little legs. And when it jumps, oh my word, look at it's hard to, because I'm in a flying area, but if you jump, the little back legs shake. It's really cute. And when it flies, the Gysahl green goes to one side, and now you pull a cake, because if you're gonna fly, you'll fly for cake. But the same thing applies that he's trying to munch away at it, but he'll never quite reach it. and it's just the funniest thing. So technically maybe it's more funny than cute, but I mean, look at that face. It's a chocobo, so they're really cute anyway. And just the fact that in a later expansion patch, sorry, they give it the ability to fly just makes it even better. So that's why I gave the cutest mount to this guy. Okay, ugliest mount, I'm aware I'm probably going to offend some people with this one, because some people might actually like this mount, but not many people use it, so I'm sorry, it has to go to the Airman. Now, this is one of the, if I get it straight, I think this is the first mount you get through subscription. Basically, it's a massive floating eyeball, so if you like Mike from Monsters Inc., think that, and then think of it like his older, uglier brother. Now, the funniest thing about this mount is the fact that his legs dangle. I mean, that's quite funny. But the amount of times I have it set on on flying or even normal mount roulette, and the amount of times I get this guy, and it really frustrates me. Like, I do not want to be flying this thing around because he's so ugly, and just pure for the fact that he's ugly. And I know it sounds really, really harsh, but I just have to speak the truth, you know? It's not the best looking mount, and because of that, I mean, hence it's the ugliest, and just like flying stance as well. But you're gonna get him free anyway, so if you like it or not, you're stuck with it. So, you know. Sorry guys if someone out there loves that mount, but it's just a personal opinion. Okay, next one we've got is the coolest mount. So from the ugliest to the coolest, and that is Fenrir. That's what I gave it to. Now this guy, he's a lot of hard work as well, because you have to do the coin, you know, get those coins at the gold saucer. So a lot of grinding away on this one. It costs 1 million coins. But he's so cool. I mean, just look at him. It's the way he moves, it's the tail, it's the stance, it's the markings on him. I mean, let's face it, I mean, he's a miniature version of the boss that you fight in the Snowcloak dungeon, which is quite nice. I wish they'd do more bosses that turned into mounts like that, because it makes it more fun. And then, of course, then later on, just to make it even more better, they did make this guy flyable. It's like he's running on ice. And he kind of reminds me, at this point there, and he sort of reminds me more of is it Ihamaritsu from Okami? I pronounced that wrong. Amaritsu? I really can't pronounce it properly. But it reminds me of that wolf, you know. It is just awesome. It looks awesome. It feels awesome. Just the fact that they made it fly, that is why I gave this one the coolest mount. Whether the movement is also fluid, I've got to point that out. So I know that a lot of people do ride this thing in PvP, and maybe because in Frontline, you know, in Shatter it's in the snow, they feel like it belongs there. But this mount just denotes power and grace when it walks, and I really like that. Nice attention to detail, and the fact they say give it the ability to fly, wow, weren't we happy with that. Okay, so now we're going to the hardest mount to get. Now this one may seem, there goes the dog, this may seem a bit of a weird choice to you, but it makes sense. I decided to pick the hardest mount on the one I'd seen the least amount of. And so it was this guy, it was Pegasus. I don't see many Pegasuses around. Or maybe people just don't ride it anymore. Now to get this one, you had to go to a certain area. And I've forgotten what it was, just give me a second, because it's completely gone out of my mind. It was, no, it was the thing you had, I don't think actually on the duty, no, so forgive me, it won't be on the duty finder, because you had to go to the airship attendant and talk to him. It's completely got in my head what it is for. The diadem, that's it, I just jogged my memory. It's the diadem you had to go to. And it was a case of, if you went to a party, I don't know if I went in a fighter's party, I don't know if it was possible to get it as a gatherer class. If you could, maybe it was easier for you, but being a fighting class was very hard to get this mount in the diadem, because people would then steal. If you went in there saying roll need only on your class, and you said no, do greed, because what if it dropped more for one class than the other, and you get still some people rolling need. That's where it became very frustrating for me. So the moment I got this mount, do you know what, I haven't been back to the diadem since. But say I'm still putting it under the hardest mount, because if people just don't tend to have it. I see more of the nighttime Pegasus around, so for me in that case this one has become more rarer for that alone. Okay, now the best story mount, you will get several different mounts through the story, but the one I've picked, purely for that, is this guy. The one that you just saw the other person have it, is Midgardsorm. Now he is the legendary dragon, he's the father of all dragons in Final Fantasy. If it wasn't for him, there'd be no other dragons. And maybe it's because it's more fun with him, because actually it made it more story plot involvement the fact that you've had this little, I should say there's a spoiler here in case you start watching this vid, that you had a little dragon sits on your shoulder during one patch, and he says that he's Midgardsorm. You think this tiny little dragon is Midgardsorm in some form or another. So you get stuck with this little dragon, he follows you around, but maybe perhaps at that point it didn't quite click to you that that little tiny dragon would turn into this. But in the story, you come to a point of proving yourself, and that tiny little dragon transforms into this mighty dragon. Now, there's another reason why I love this guy, because I've actually got the figure from the collector's edition that was released a couple of years ago when the first expansion pack came out, and I actually have this in figure form, so perhaps I appreciate it all the more. But what you see on him is exactly how they've done it on the figure, so all the detail of the armor, even the baggage on the back, it's all there on the figure, so they've captured attention to detail completely. And perhaps because of the fact that he actually says to you, you've proven yourself to gain flight on his back, it feels more exciting than getting the Magitech armor or the little cutter ship that you fly later on. So the dragon, it feels the most rewarding out of all the story mounts. Okay, now the easiest mount to get, this one, in an earlier vid, yes, I've done it, I've said it is the unicorn mount, but then later on I've gone to realise that you'd have to be that class and maybe healing is not your forte. And technically, this then becomes the easiest mount, the zoo mount. Now, if I remember rightly, it's, if I get this right, is linked to the diadem as well. I didn't get that from that. I bought mine from the market board. Now, this guy cost me 400,000 at the time, but the cheapest one I've seen today is 180,000. Now, I know what you're thinking, that's a lot of money, but technically no. If you start, if you start your adventure off, you start selling some things, it won't actually, especially if you sell things like the material that you're given, any food items, clothing items, and you're quite suave about how you go about things. You don't buy much stuff for yourself. It wouldn't actually take you that long to save up that much money. And then not only that, compared to say the unicorn mount, which is great for ground, this guy actually flies. So if you start saving up this mount from the moment you get the game, you're actually doing yourself a favour, because you've got the expansion pack in Heaven's Ward. It means you actually get them to fly around, so bonus right there. So that's why I've made it the easiest one. All you got to do is to save up the money and buy it. So that's not hard at all, really, is it? Okay, now I've done the best pony mount here, because I can't do best eagle. I haven't got all the eagles, so I've gone for best pony. Now there are, say, 6 ponies to get. I'm not including the Kieran in this, and I picked this one, Boreas. Now, it was the hardest one to get. It was the last one I needed to unlock the Kieran mount, but I did finally get it. Now, say the pony mounts, they do not fly, and typically your favourite pony will come down to quite a few things. It'll either come down to A, colour, or B, soundtrack. When you run, the soundtrack plays of the main boss fight, just like with the eagles. And I love the Shiva soundtrack. I love the look of the white with the glowing blue. It's absolutely majestic. It's a shame in some ways you kind of wished all the ponies could fly, but then maybe that made the Kieran more special by the fact that it was the only one that could fly in the game. And so this was, for me, it was one of the best looking ponies, and the moment I saw the ponies, I knew this was the one I had my heart set on. So the fact that it was the last one I had to get, and only then was it the hardest one then to drop, because everyone kept outrolling me. So when I did finally get it, perhaps I appreciate it all the more, because it was the missing one from my collection. But I think it's beautiful by looks and soundtrack, but maybe say you prefer a different one for the same type reason. So okay, now on to the last mount. Whew, I've been getting to this one. This is the best emote mount. Now if I counted correctly, there are 8, of the 50 mounts I've got, 8 of them do emotes. Like for example, the Moogle one here is like a dancing trick and there's a sneeze. This one shoots fire, which the fire one, that was a very close second because of that. But I'm going to have to give it to Twintania. So activate the emote bar. Now this one was great. It works because not only can Twintania fly, which that kind of beats the cavalry drake, but this ability works in the air as well. So if I activate the lock-on as I'm flying, you can still activate this while flying away. And to me, it's just a really cool ability. Just a twist around, and this makes it more interesting, because if you're on a long haul flight, we'll call it that, it can get a bit boring, but not Twintania. No, you can swoop and swirl around. Now technically I know I know you're thinking, yes, but what if I haven't got friends who play this game? I can't get them to subscribe, so I'm going to get this mount. If that's the case, and you're not going to get Twin Tiny anytime soon, in that case, I'd say the Cavalry Drake is the second best one because the Fireball emote looks amazing. The fire is gorgeous to watch. But if you have got friends who can play this game, or can afford to play this game, that tends to be the thing that puts people off at the most out of Final Fantasy. The fact they have to pay to play